Hello and welcome to the DM's Travel Book Club, a guide to Faerun, where we take a whistle-stop tour around the Forgotten Realms and see the sights, meet the people, and discover hidden treasure. Whoa, lots of hand gestures. Hooray for our final episode.
Meet the
We're
people. I can
meet the
handshake
people.
the air better.
Maybe, yeah, you handshake one way, I'll handshake the other way. So, oh no,
No,
wrong
you're
way.
good.
There you go. There we go.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. The power of online conferencing. It's still funny to us even now.
I'm stuck in this box. Let me out.
Stop pushing me. Stop pushing me. Yes, very good. Very good. Yes, very, very good. Anyway, Hamilton, enough with our online shenanigans that only the viewers can see. We have come to the end of our whistle stop tour in Faerun. We've gone through all the things with, Dale Lands, Icewind Dale.
Yeah.
We've done Calamshan, Moonshade Isles. I'm sure there's one more I've forgotten about, and I can't remember what it is. But we're here.
We're here now.
We're here now. I'm here now at Baldur's Gate.
That's right.
Yes.
Yes.
We have covered Baldur's Gate before in our sibling podcast, but we thought it'd be nice to include it in this one as well to be like. Round off, and obviously this is the one that's in the Sword Coast as well. We visited 100%. A couple of different lands as well.
And also, fundamentally, we will talk about this later, they are different information within them compared to what we looked at then. So if you are looking for more information on Baldur's Gate, you can go, you'll get some overlap, but I think there's a couple of different areas that we talk about, and particularly today, there's some things that are quite different than we found then. Yeah,
because that gazetteer that we looked at, that was in the, I think it was the Descent into Avernus adventure.
And was written, and also we'll talk about then, and I think something that is lucky from this, and I'll talk about it now, is that was written as a Volo's Guide sort of vibe. So it was very much Volanthamp's, braggadocious attitude, the sort of sort of like verbiage and stuff like that was all plastered and painted across the whole of that text, whilst this is a little bit more we did also mention it got a little bit dry in there at points when it got to the wording, but this I think particularly is a different flavor than that.
I also think as well, when we looked at it, obviously we were at the height of Baldur's Gate 3, and so they'd re-released it as you should go and check this out if you want to, and everyone's like, and admittedly, I still have not finished Baldur's Gate 3. I don't know did you finish it in the end?
No. I watched and finished it. That was it. I watched the ending.
We watched the ending. So again, we are aware of Baldur's Gate.
Yes.
You have played the first two games, right? A long time ago?
Yeah, back a long time ago. And actually, interestingly enough, like the first one starts in Candlekeep of all places, which is why it's so like connected in my mind with Baldur's Gate, because the first one starts with you in Candlekeep. However, if anyone is going to go back, I recommend just skipping 1 and going straight to 2. But there you go. It's a little bit very dated now and quite hard to janky.
I think I did try the jankiness and I went, I can't.
Yeah, it's quite a lot different. Though I am playing Planescape Torment at the moment, which is actually really good. Again, it's actually very good. I recommend it if anyone fancies some Planescape. But anyway, we're here for Baldur's Gate.
Yeah, well, you can also listen to the Outer and Inner Planes Travel Book Club. That's more interesting about Planescape. But yes, we're back to Baldur's Gate. Let's go.
I've also noticed you put a nice, in our video for the listeners at home, Bernard's put like a city street with cars driving by. So like we've come from we've done like the Dale Lands, which was very much like rurality at the prime. And then you've got like Icewind Dale where we've been frozen and there's weird shit happening everywhere. Calamshan where it's been like warm and toasty and everything's been a little bit like deserty.
Yeah.
And then Moonshade Isles where we're windswept, and now we're in I think it's very much like rainy Liverpool. It kind of gives me those kind of vibes.
Interesting. You know I thought I was thinking more like grimy sort of like LA or even London, depending on where you were.
Okay, yeah. Because I mean the London vibe I get as well.
Well, the reason is because it talks about right at the beginning. It talks about that this place, Baldur's Gate, is this busy metropolis, right? And the idea is that it's cosmopolitan and crowded, and even though there's lots of opportunities around here, it's very easy to get trapped by and not make your way out of it. So that's why I was thinking about the LA thing. It was more because of that, because you always hear people go like, I'm going to go to LA and be an actor and do my dreams, but then you get there, everyone there is trying to be an actor, everyone there is trying to is getting bit parts. So you're not being the superstar, and you're more
No.
lower down. So that's what I thought. And then you get sort of trapped in this idea of dreams. And that's what I was thinking for this, is that compared to the other place that we've talked about before, Waterdeep, which definitely seems a bit more hospitable, more like your traditional sort of like, haha, welcome to the Forgotten Realms.
Yes.
Here it's like, this is actually where you come, and actually it's not as golden. It's not the.
I feel like Waterdeep is more LA, where you're like or New York. Like Waterdeep's more like New York, where like I'm gonna make it in New York. The town that's always sparkling and everything's happening. I feel like Baldur's Gate is more like Reno. Do you know what I mean? It's not quite Las Vegas. It's like maybe it is Las Vegas or something like that. It's more like, it's definitely like you're only coming here knowing that there's probably bad intentions in like your reasoning, because as we mentioned in our last one, and it's something that like crops up so much, that this is like openly questionably moral and legal is kind of like the vibe. Like, there are one of the only guilds is the guild, which is the Thieves Guild, right? So that is it. The it's like foundational like thought, I think, that I always come to is like the Dead Three. So like Bane, Mercule and Baal. And then it's just like horrible class imbalance with like the upper height, which are all like integrating themselves with cabals and cults and all these kind of things generally, and power struggles. And then it's just like a den of just like debauchery and like nefarious activities as a general rule, and you're openly going to be doing illegal things. I don't think, or what would be considered illegal other places.
I think there's no way of getting ahead without doing something underhand. I think it says, there's like a line that I liked was a danger and an opportunity are aplenty wait in the bustling city, and people who are smart or lucky can make a reputation and fortune. But then like you were saying, like not all treasures or wins comes without a price tag or a consequence, as it were. So I thought that was interesting, because I feel like Baldur's Gate, now that we've seen the video game, Descent into Avernus, has all these connotations around the sort of more moral ambiguity of like everyday people. I think that if you've got a group of players who are like, we just want to, we're all rogues, I'm a warlock, I'm this. I think you'd start them in Baldur's Gate rather than maybe Waterdeep, because then there's a lot more for them to test themselves against and to try, and there's a lot more. Again, I always go back to Blades in the Dark, I know, but there's all the idea of all these factions are always out for each other, and if you upset one, they're going to come back for you. And it's not as if like the authorities here, the Watch or the Flaming Fists are going to help you, because they're not. Which I thought was interesting. Whereas you would expect it elsewhere because of that status thing.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing. I think like if you're offering that, I think as it says in this book, gritty urban fantasy. I think if you want high urban fantasy, that is Waterdeep. You want exactly, and you're quite right. It's that idea that here you're going to get the classic. No one's going to help you. You're only going to make it. And if you want to really go for the sort of like, we might talk about factions at another time, and we've already talked about the factions in the previous installation of the DS Book Club when we talked about the different ones of Waterdeep. I remember when we did that. And so like, if you want to look at the Zentarim, or Xanathar's Guild, or any of those sorts of like, or the Flaming Fists or whatever, or even just the Emerald Enclave, you want to like have some sort of like faction turf war sort of thing, or at least get your players to make a choice in a struggle between the two, or be figuring out something outside of that, to find out what one of them is doing. The reason you would do that more would be in Baldur's Gate. Whilst in Waterdeep, you feel like there's always someone to ask. Do you know what I mean? To help you out, because we could just go find, like Jarl Axel or the Guild, or go to the I forget what the masked.
The Master Lords of Waterdeep,
Lords of Waterdeep, and call on them to deal with whatever's going on.
Well, and I think it's very interesting. Again, I know we've not covered Waterdeep in this particular travel book club, but the Master Lords of Waterdeep, that's how their council is run. Whereas here we have the Council of Four, we have a Grand Duke, and then the other three underneath them, and then they are supported by their own parliament. But what is interesting, and this is the thing I wanted to bring up first, and I know we'll go back and through all these things, but the Grand Duke of the Council is someone called Olga Ravengar, who's not only the Grand Duke, so is the head of everything, so PM, president, whatever you want to call it, but he's also the supreme marshal of the Flaming Fist as well. So this mercenary group that is used for stuff, and he kind of refused to give up that sort of thing to concentrate on stuff. But as a result, his undivided attention makes the Flaming Fist go into this sort of like more corrupt thing. And I just thought it was interesting, that conflict of interest, right? Like I feel like again, it's happening everywhere, where it's like, well, you're the head of this business, but also you're supposed to be a neutral party in this. Surely you should, you know. So I thought that was really interesting compared to the Masked Lords. I know there's other leaderships there, but you don't know who they are, and there's loads of them, so they all have their own intentions sort of hidden a little bit, so you can't.
There's quite a number of them. I can't remember the number off the top of my head, but it is quite a fair few.
But they can't necessarily be. I mean, there are corruption. Don't get me wrong, but there's like, it can't be easy like, oh well, let's go bribe this person. Whereas all the Parliament members, they're all upper class people or businessmen, and they all are interested in what other people are doing. So you know they seek agents to unearth secrets on their colleagues, making their own damaging secrets permanently disappear. You know, so again, that's the political intrigue where you might get hired by a parliamentary member. It's like, I want you to go and sort out this other person and make sure they'll get some dirt on them because they're opposing my motion that's going to go to the Council of Four. You know.
Yeah.
So I just thought that was instantly really interesting. Like, well, hang on, the head of all control isn't necessarily neutral, and if you know, and then of course you have the other three underneath, one of which is controlled by a mind
flayer. Yes.
Wait, I'm a big fan of that. You know me, I'm like, oh, what's?
I thought that was quite fun. I also like just the distant and ineffective Duke de la Portier. You just get everything you need to know about him from that, don't you? You can just portray that guy in an instant. You know, just like anyway. No, you're right. It's a really. It is a really good way of like, it's corrupt all the way to the top, you know, like, and that's there right at the beginning. And the fact that if you're bringing characters in here for the first time, like at the beginning of a campaign or midway through a campaign or wherever, it's constantly, you can be reminding them that's the concept you need to get across, isn't it? They're like, no one's going to help you. It's corrupt all the way to the top, and fuck around and you will find out. Do you know what I mean? As well, like, you know, and if you want to do something about it, well, you're going to have to battle from the issues down here all the way to the issue at the top there as well, because even down here people are just selling poisons on the street, and the guild is basically running everywhere else, you know, like that's not being run by the people with all the money. So like if you step on the wrong side of anyone, which is going to be so easily to do, particularly if you're adventurers, then it could always be fun. Do you know what I mean? Like, as in, it can be an interesting place to play in, I think.
But the thing I found interesting, and I know we've kind of skipped over, like, you know, what is Baldur's Gate and the landscape of it, because I think that's very interesting. So yeah, we have the stuff at the top in terms of the Parliament and the Council of Four, and then you have these two mercenary groups, the Watch themselves, which sort of patrols the upper city, and then Flaming Fist that sort of does the lower city. So all that stuff there. But then you also have these common crews, and I feel like not enough. I feel like it's kind of passed over, or it just feels boring. This idea of, like, you know, life is tough in Baldur's Gate. You don't know when your next food is coming. You don't know if the deal you've made with someone is going to work for you. So you have these common people, and usually it's like neighborhood watch style. It's like either you're part of we all do weaving together, sort of wise women weavers. That's a crew. It's this neighborhood, and we all look out for each other. And in the sense of, like, they'll walk each other home on foggy nights, or they'll look out for you. And I'm like, these feel kind of important to your players, right? Because you know, they're the ones that are going to probably interact with people the most, unless they're all going to go to the guild straight away. And I really wish there was a table or a randomly creation, like, here's some community like names that you can make up, you know, because I feel like those are the important people that you're going to be talking with. So it's like, we got your back, you know, anyone can stay at our place because we're the rat catchers of Cemetery Gate, and we don't leave a rat out, you know, or something like that. You know what I mean? Like, I just feel like that's to me is like the lowest level where you will come in at, because I think any hire is like, you have been hired because of something you've done previously. If you're starting out in Baldur's Gate, I would like to have some common crews that you know about or you're aware of. So
I think that's an easy thing to do, and I think you could build that around your characters. Like, it talks about the harbour hands. I've just gone to check their name because I couldn't remember it off the top of my head. But like, as a lot of the people's way into the city is going to possibly be through the harbour, or at least you're going to interact with it at some point. And that's a really good way to sort of, like, you could utilize that as a way to show and not tell the harbour hands as a crew and what these things are. Maybe like you notice that they're like talking to each other in a patois that you don't understand, that seems to have like wordage that seems to mean different things to them, and they're communicating between themselves by saying like a series of numbers and sayings that seem to be going between them and stuff like that is a way you could talk about it.
Yeah.
You could also say that they seem to be working in different groups, so they all seem to congregate together at the end and stuff like this. And you can sort of like, maybe they try and recruit you to join them. Like, we're always looking for more harbor hands if you want to make a coin or two.
Yes.
And then I think then just let your players go where they're going, and then if you're a GM, I think the best way to do it is try and think of like the Grave Makers of Tumbledown, what a name, or the Bloom Ridge Dandies, or the Wiseman Weavers are all great names. And I think it's easily to figure out that like, okay, where are we going to go? Oh, we're going to go to Little Calimshan, for example, which is like a fun little idea. Maybe that has a link to where you've been elsewhere before, or someone that you have a connection with there, and then maybe they have one there, which is maybe like all about the food that they like all do, like it's all the food market people of Calimshan food that sort of like help bring the food trade from the port all the way across, and it's all about like communicating and selling and marketing like traditional food from their people, and that could be like a really interesting one that's like could get you into a community if that's something that links you, or
even like I was gonna say, like if you've got if you're coming from Calimshan to here, like the idea of having like you maybe have folks who are Ganassi in your team, and maybe like, oh well, the Ganassi district or as a group of Ganassi, like a community, and like you know how it is, like you have like clubs and community clubs about like certain shared heritages, like oh yeah, well I've just moved to the area, and like oh yeah, when here's all
like,
the stuff
in Bath they have like come and talk French, if for like all French like people that want to come as speakers, they could like have little like somewhere to come and speak and keep up your language and
be from home. Exactly. That's really nice actually. Exactly. So I think that's the bit I was missing, I think, because I feel like this particular primer is a lot better than the one we looked at, because in terms of like hooks for the GM, but I'm just like going like, me as a player, like it feels like I'm gonna just have to go try and get myself into the upper city, which is very hard to do, and then you're going to have to be dealing with the council fort and murder and the patrias, all that sort of thing, which I'm like, cool, but what if you're already starting, I know I said if you're starting in Baldur's Gate, we need connections that you're and maybe I think maybe in the last one it said like if you're a Baldurian, here's some things you would like here's a link here to this part of the background. I would maybe add that in here as well to start us off.
I think so, and I think make yourself know of them or have one that and I think it could be just simply like you're out late maybe, and it's coming to like curfew times, or they know that there's going to be a patrol coming, and someone of one of these crews reaches out a hand to your crew saying like, come with me now, because now even if it's just like a local like racketeering group who just comes around and causes havoc at this time of night, they come and get you and whisk you away from them and say like, and then take you into their little crew, and that could be a nice little base of operations to moving forward, where it's just like, oh, we've just met these randomly cool people who are just generally helping out, and maybe they're like performers or something, right? Maybe that's their thing, and they always have to scarper because they're doing performing and people trying to take their money from them or something like that. I'm just building this as I go. So
but I like it, because that makes me think of as like, if you're getting in trouble with like the watch and they're looking a bit aggressive, I can just imagine someone coming in and doing those sort of like, you see them on the tube, right? These adverts, when you see harassment happening on tube, you go, nice shoes, and you're trying, hey, nice shoes, I'm so sorry, you silly Billy, you got lost, come on, and like, thanks for waiting, like there's people pulling in, like I kind of like because they're
using situations with like normal chat that like is like I mean, and that's kind of that's another thing, which could be like maybe the GM accosts the people, and that's what you do, and then have someone else come in to then stop this accosting, which could be, I know you're forcing it, both sides being the GM, but
or you could see, again, you maybe leave it to the players, like, hey, you see an NPC, being accosted, and then you go, nice shoes, and then pull them in, and they're like, thank you, my crew will, we'd love to help you, you scratch my back, you gave me a favor, let me give you a favor. That kind of little encounters like that, I think could just make it, and it just makes him, again, rather than, I think because you and I both love political intrigue. I feel like
Yeah.
just starting it straight away without any like warm up maybe is a bit difficult to do.
Well, it is a little bit, because I've got, like I did in Wraithfall, because I've got one city which is like really under the control of the vampires and stuff like that, and I did like an encounter which is in there, which is kind of like you witness some derogatory behavior, like people being horrific and not being nice, and it's up to, and I guess like as a GM you can roll on the encounter table and you can choose not to choose that, because it might not be the right thing to be like, right, you're straight off the boat.
Straight off the boat. You're being hired. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And then you're just witnessing like Patria on their palanquin coming past and then kicking them in the face. You know what I mean? Like, as in like, it's quite a bit of a
it's like,
awakening.
Really
and maybe that's
brutal.
what you want to do. But I'm saying like, it's possibly something to build in. Just if you're trying to build the, I was trying to do it as like the whole point of these encounter things sometimes is to build the flavor of the city. And so like that, this is the thing as a GM, it's like these crews are a really good way to start building the understanding that, okay, so people are having to group together, like even in that simplicity, if you look at it, you're like, people are grouping together to do the job the watch would do, or they're having to group together to band against others. So there's already conflict you're aware of, and this city isn't running as smoothly as others, for example, or it is running smoothly, but in its own way. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think that's, and I think, you know, and it says that, you know, just reading reminded me of something as well. When it says my best friends are evil, is just right underneath it. It's just reminded me of something else that I think is like, you know, all this is my perspective, the neighbors or rivals are evil, but they're judged by actions, not intentions. And I think that is something that could be, which is kind of clear in that as well, that I think you could show that this city is, by doing these things, is that they are willing. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
As in like, they see a situation, and if you don't join in, someone else joins it. Or whenever something happens, wherever you do anything, passers-by don't, it doesn't feel like this is London where like, oh, someone falls over and they have the, what's it called, the bystander effect. This doesn't sound like the city where you'd have the bystander effect. This feels like the city where you'd have to stop people coming to do something about it. Do you know what I mean? Someone falls over, someone's rushing up to help them, or to do so, or to steal their wallet. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. There's always some sort of action going on, some sort of chase sequence.
Exactly.
There was like rules for chases in here as well.
Yeah,
like,
exactly. But I feel like an interaction occurs, no one's sitting there on the tube and pretending to ignore what's happening. It's happening and people are interacting with it. So I think that feels like critical to it as well. It's like an American TV show. Everyone's shouting at everyone. Do you know what I mean?
It's very overwhelming all the time.
Well, a lot of emotion at this level. No, up here, like not like British TV shows where it's all just
it's all down. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Let's quickly talk about like the makeup of like Baldur's Gate itself. So it's kind of in 3 parts. And we have sort of the upper city, which is all the very affluent rich people districts. So that's where all the members of parliament, the pariahs, no, that's not the word. Patrias. I knew that's the one word I never get right. Patrias live there. What I've written down in my notes, the 1%, and the sort of the tech folk in Silicon Valley. They're the ones that have all this sort of things. Yeah, exactly. So they all live all there, and they have the watch that sort of lives around there. The regimented military force is bankrolled by them. Sort of, they're like a paid private militia. And in my head, weirdly, I think we talked about this a little while ago, but what it made me think of is the LA wildfires that happened a couple of years ago, where the very rich people would pay certain firefighters to stand outside their homes to look after their little property as the fires came close, but they couldn't go and do water anywhere else, which
reminds me of Oprah as well with her land in Hawaii. She wouldn't let people in.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So that idea of having that sort of very controlling, like affluent things, like they are very, very rich and they don't want their stuff being taken. And the big thing that I remembered from last time we looked at this is that at a certain curfew, the watch will just expel anyone who's not supposed to be a part of the upper city to reduce crime and heists and stuff. So, you have residents of the district, their designated guests, and any authorized servants, all of whom. And
you get a medal, don't you? That basically says,
I'm supposed to be there. Yeah,
I'm allowed to be here, but then you're only allowed to be there until curfew, and then you're all kicked out unless you have a different badge, basically. As well.
And again, like all things, again, where we're talking about this sort of particular place is not a nice place to be. You could have encounters of possibly, profiling. You're like, oh, what are you doing here? Because, well, we're supposed to be here. Like, oh, let's see your token. oh, what token? You don't have a token. It's like, I've just given you know. And so it's like that sort of, you could have that issue with the watch as well. Maybe they're being bribed. You know, have to bribe them in order for them to give you back their token.
Yeah,
horrible things like that.
Yeah, like you might have a right to be there, but that doesn't mean you have a right to be there. You know, like exactly. Yeah. Ooh, so
horrible.
Yeah, and I think so that is the Upper City, and it's the only place with a nice big open space, the wide, which is like it kind of shows that sort of like the fact that you can even see like the spacing of the streets and the houses becomes like, you know, big, you know, it's like definitely manor-born as well, isn't it? One of the areas.
Yes, these very nice affluent areas. And this is something I didn't get across, and again, maybe I've not played Baldur's Gate 3, so don't shout at me. There's a lot of yellow marbled buildings, so it almost feels like that either very golden sheen to things or urine color things to me. I don't know, either one. Was what I was thinking. It's like horrible. There's like golden sheen everywhere. So there you go.
Lovely. And then you got as I said, that's the Upper City. Then you have the Lower City, which includes the harbour and a number of districts from the Steppes, Heapside, Eastway, Brampton, and Sea Tower, which also includes the Sea Tower Baldur, which is that. But it's basically like it's a big C shape. If you can't imagine it. People at home can't see it, but it's like a C shape, and then or like an N, let's say, and then at the top third of it is the Upper City, and then the two sides, and then wrapping around the middle of the curve is where the Lower City is, and then to the east of the city is a huge mountain. They love to put big mountains next to cities, like Waterdeep has a big mountain.
What is this big mountain that's behind here? Yeah, the Duskhawk Hill, right?
Which we joked about as being like the national trust of the national park. Sorry, of like. Yeah, and how John Muir would be proud of us for that, and that like so that's the national parks. It's like it's an area of like outstanding natural beauty that's been left over for like as a wild reserve, and then you got that wraps around that hill is the Outer City.
Yes.
With Tumbledown being this weird little bit at the bottom, and that wraps all the way around to Worms Crossing. So there is no like, in order to get to the city from the south, you have to come in through Rivington, which is then a little like enclave, which we'll talk about in this book later on. Yes. And you go across the Worms Crossing to the Worm Rock, which is where they collect tolls. And then you have to follow you all the way around.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it feels like there'd be a really easy like ferry service or something like that. You know, I think like it doesn't talk enough about that funny. As like you'd assume from Rivington that that'd be like the way. And the fact that no one's built another bridge or like built a walkway from Twin Songs, which is like where on the one side and then around the base of that mountain, like to get to the city quicker, because it feels like a really ludicrous way to go into the city.
It does feel like we've done this way for thousands of years. Why would we change it now? But I agree. I think one thing I could give as a sort of reason why they've not got a ferry service that we can see on here is that there's a lot of Sahagin in the in the water, so maybe there's been lots of accidents, and maybe there are more patrols or something like that. I think
it's like the Strait of Hormuz.
Wow, incredibly topical this travel book club, huh?
So it's just I don't know. That's not funny. I want to clarify.
No,
I don't do that.
No. But again, it's interesting how we're pulling real world things, even more so nowadays. And we're like, oh, it's like this, and so you can have something.
So like the Sahagin are stopping shipping.
Stopping shipping. Well, again, because it's the Water Queen's house, this sort of temple to Umberlee, is in the harbour, and there's been like some issues with some rising tension with the Sahagin demanding more and more things. So I wonder if maybe there was. You could say that there used to be ferry stuff or like sneaky boats, but then people were boats would sink and then people would be found washed up. So they say something was attacking them in the water. So
in the
water. But yeah, the Worms Crossing is a fascinating. I really like it because in Descent into Avernus, there's a beautiful like picture of it in the primer of this idea of like you have this bridge and in the middle is like basically a big stone building that you have to go through, and that's where the Flaming Fist sort of like are there taking your tolls to get through and to check things, but then on either side is almost like markets but also other buildings, and people are like in my
it's a London Bridge, isn't it, vibe of like, or like the one in Firenze, Florence. That's the one.
Firenze.
Firenze.
I am in the upper city.
In Firenze.
Firenze.
So anyway,
But
Florence, yeah,
exactly. And it made me think of, like, you know, if you go around the Eiffel Tower, there's always those tourists who are trying to sell you bits of the Eiffel Tower to you. The same sort of thing here, like little bits of shops and stuff like that. There's one which is like, so that's one we Sweet Jen's Treats or something like that.
Yeah.
Sweet Jen's Spices, sorry.
Yeah.
And which is also like, it sells spices by day and illegal drugs by night. And I'm like, whoa, what a fun party that's going to be.
Sweets.
Yeah, sweets and sweets. So yeah, I like the idea that, you know, you could be crossing it every time you cross. There's different like markets or different vendors that you could meet in different encounters as well.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I think that's true. Really, and like you get that bustle, don't you, straight away? Yeah, no, it is really cool. It also, I think that piece of art would be nice that's missing from this, actually. I think they could steal a few extra things. I think that gazetteer was made free, wasn't it? As you said, when Baldur's Gate 3.
I think a little while. It's probably still around, you know, like 5e tools or something like that.
Exactly.
The other like notable vendor on this wild bridge is called the Danthalions Dancing Axe, which is like an outfitter of some sort. The dwarf owner falsely claims to be an adventurer, but has lots of tips. So again, just a fun NPC for you to play. As you're like, you've just come in. Well, you need to. Well, Baldur's Gate is its own adventure. Let me tell you all about it. And just to be able to like really ham up this idea of somebody who's never been adventuring but has all the gear for it. You know, I thought that was fun. And that little thing about the dancing axe, it's like this magical enchanted axe that guards the shop at night. I thought it was really good fun. Yeah, just really interesting.
That's pretty cool. I think it's maybe worth then, whilst we're talking about these places, to go on to then, because it mentions in that, so that it goes through. We've talked a little about the Dead 3, and we've talked a bit about the people. I mean, we could go further into Dead 3, but I think it's very much just fundamentally part of the city, and it's kind of just the fact that there are death cultists to Merkur, who's the god of death. You've got Bel, who's the god of murder, and then you've got Bane, who's the god of tyranny. And there seems to be people that are always interacting. Balspawn is a thing that seems to be like that's like propagated in times of particular events of Baal sort of trying to rise up in the city, and it's like it's a thing that doesn't seem to be happening right at the moment, because I think Baal was from the city. Is that right?
Ooh, I want to say yes. I feel again. This is where my brain is not good. I feel like they were like a person and then became a god.
They rose to being a god. They killed the last god of murder.
Yes, I think that is in Baldur's Gate.
Well, no, didn't. They split in two. I think they did something and then they split a god in two. But anyway, whatever. As in, like,
classic.
I think there was one god who did multiple things, and then they took over different parts of that facet.
Oh,
of the god, I
see.
That's what I mean.
Well, maybe at some point we need to look through all the gods. That's also in this book as well. So we'll fact check it later. Yeah, but yes.
But then I think there's lots of. But then it goes into, in this thing, a lot of different locations once it talks about the different areas. There's quite a few like inns, which I think are, I don't know. I think they're okay. I think like the Helm and Cloak is very much like, it's a fantasy tavern, and there's a funky fact that they're like neighboring, and one's slightly more comfy than the other. Do you know what I mean?
Well, the most interesting thing about that is that there's a statue of a unicorn.
Yes.
And that's it. Again, it would have been nice to have. I think they always have adventures, that sort of plot hooks. I would have liked to had like an adventure about the whatever it is of the unicorn, the group of the unicorn, or whatever it's called.
Oh yeah, what they called? Yes, they are.
The adventures at the end
Knights
of the book.
The Unicorn. They're just called the Knights
of the Unicorn. Yeah, because that would have been a nice like, we're going to recruit you to do something. So yeah, no, I agree. I like the idea of it, but I was a bit like, so what? Compared to some of the other ones, like the blushing mermaid, who like great in the sense of like it's a wooden mermaid, but with all the hands of people who couldn't pay their tabs like stabbed into her, and I'm like, that's horrible. I love that name. Yeah, great name. And also that all these places in I think it's this one where there's no numbers of the rooms, it's all maze like, and only the proprietor knows where anything is. Fantastic, love that. Again, I'm instantly going like, well, what you go, all right, I'll go get the drinks. You go through the maze, you get your drinks, you turn around, you end up in the guild's AGM, and you're there with your drinks, and you're like, well, I guess I'm sat here, and you hear the agenda items, you hear any of the business, and then you're like, cool, I'm not supposed to be here.
the Grandpa Simpson walking in, turning around.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yeah, I think stuff like that could be quite fun.
But I think that's another great example, really, isn't it? Of like, that's a way to explain this is the place you're in. It's a statue with hands that are shriveled because they didn't pay their tab, sort of thing. Like, that's the way that the bartender there is going to be working. It's not going to be like, it's not going to be friendly. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or is very friendly in a very creepy, scary way. I think I think we joked. I just remember something we talked about the unrolling scroll before the Temple of Ogma, and how that it's an interesting place. I think we put it as an interesting place to look at or steal wonders. And I was like, yes, that's a really good way of looking at it. I don't know if we came up with that, but I quite like that as a thing, and I didn't think of that at the time. But it's also like a good yes, it doesn't actually talk about it so much here, but you're like, yeah, there could be really cool shit in here. So if you want to theme it.
Yeah, well,
it's a good place to set a theme.
The things that came out about the Unrolling Scroll was talked about like it being a prime wedding venue, and that people would like wait 10 days. And I like that idea that you like we got to go talk to the priest at the Temple of Ogma. Oh, many happy returns. I'm so sorry.
Oh, you turn up and you're absolutely like covered in blood. You've got like a boar's head on your shoulder. You've got and you're just like, oh. Sorry, is this the wrong moment? Sort of thing.
I object. Just joking. Jokes.
Oh, yeah. Oh, hello. I didn't know you were here.
God, no,
I haven't seen you in ages.
Good for you. Good for you. We'll talk after. Because they have this reflecting pool thing as well. Because this particular temple is like it's for creativity and arts. There's like lots of things about music theory I saw. And the idea that if you look into this reflective pool for 12 hours, then you will get some sort of vision to inspire your next piece. But because of the curfew, you might cut your time short, so people will arrive there at the beginning, and they'll be there throughout various wedding services. So you could be having like your wedding portrait taken, and there's just some guy at the back looking into the
no, you get it taken just so they go, oh, it's like, oh my gosh, I got the idea.
I knew it.
Many happy returns.
I thought I liked both of those, and I think the adventure later on, which talks about it using the unrolling scroll as a location, I actually quite enjoyed that. I thought the bits around it were really fun and interesting, and absolutely you'd steal something. The little detail about I think they're called the curate, who teaches lessons about music. He has his wall is covered in achievements and certificates of all his students' things.
Oh yeah,
it reminds me of something we were talking off podcast.
Yeah,
it's like, exactly. You've got a certificate for DMing D&D, but put that on. I think that'd be quite fun as a little Easter egg. You're like,
I think every time you've done a TLDR, Fiona, you should give yourself a certificate.
I should. I should put them on the back, and then it's a little. You do a little check to be like, oh, what kind of certificates? You pick one at random. Oh, it's Wraithborn.
I think you should. Every time you get 100, you buy yourself a medal.
That's true. And then little coins. You have little coins at the back. There you
little
go.
medal around your neck. I've done 100 D20 games. I've done
Oh my goodness.
I am a master of D6s. I'm a master of PBTA.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, you have to have little epaulets.
Oh my gosh, we could so make a tutoring for GM games, and it'd be like mastering PBTA 101 in D20 systems. Year 0 engine for you. A whole set of courses.
You know what? We need to do our marketing meeting next. So we'll put all these badges that I will get you to design.
Okay, cool. We're doing this.
Amazing.
So there's I'm trying to think we come across Karlach a couple of times. This kind of really tries pushing Karlach on you in this if you've played, and so you get Garmalt's House of Mastery, which is kind of interesting if you want that, particularly if you want a little bit, you talk about political intrigue. I don't know if it's quite political intrigue, but the fact that they've got this ardent hatred for for a Patriarch who used to be a former Flaming Fist, and there's a sort of rivalry between the two of them because Garmalt is second command of this bannerless legion. So if you wanted to get more into this idea of meeting someone who could be potentially a connection from outside of town that you could go to that could then thrust you into a rivalry that's not yours, but I think is always something to start a party off if they haven't got one already. Do you know what I mean? There could be a a route towards understanding the city better potentially, and being like, you could imagine a very like, again using that sort of like braggadocious, big, booming voice, very brash and loud sort of person that's kind of like, as I said, like is friendly to anyone who could beat them in a fight, over drinks, gladly shares leads about people who need guarding or bounties to be claimed. So it could be a really nice like starting point in the city. I always felt
I also think
that kind of game.
Yeah, I also think they had this thing about not killing people in a fight, and that philosophy being not seen by all that come to this thing. And I just thought it was really interesting. Again, like as someone that I think you could trust or go to, and the Battleless Legion. Then you know more of it than maybe they're in the other Baldur's Gate games. I'm like, well, surely that seems like a decent team to align yourself with, or a crew, compared to the Flaming Fist or the Watch. You know, like if you know, they're clearly some sort of like low tier crew that's not part of the guild. So I'm like, oh, what's their deal a little bit? I think because I like the idea of like almost like this very Zorro like sort of like fighting school. Could be quite fun. So yeah, no, I
watched
thought that
Zorro recently.
Did you? Oh, it's good,
yes, it is alright. Yeah, it still stands up, I think.
I agree. The one thing I forgot about Baldur's Gate, and maybe maybe we covered it more in the previous primer, is that you're not allowed horses into Baldur's Gate proper.
Yes.
Yeah, so like you have like there's like various places where you can store your horses and they'll take you to the other side if you're going through Baldur's Gate. But there's like a business.
Same in Waterdeep.
Maybe it is. There's definitely. I was going to say there's definitely a rule.
Stables on the edge of Waterdeep as well. You have to leave your horse outside.
Maybe
Waterdeep.
They're not allowed big animals. Maybe it's Waterdeep that people are trying to get in like peacocks.
You're allowed to go in if you're trade market traders, but I don't think you're allowed to just bring your horse in.
Yeah. Generally. So the way you get around Baldur's Gate is that there is a business called there's a business called Cottle's Wainwright, which is like these Hanson cabs without horses. But I wasn't entirely sure, because it sounds like these things just travel around, and then you get into one, and then do you just teleport to another that's close by your destination, or do you go there? Because it said that you could fiddle with the controls to just appear in someone else's carriage, and I'm like, I wasn't sure about what the way you could go around this place. You know what I mean?
Where's this bit? I've missed this bit. I've not.
No. It's in the upper gate, upper city. I think it's like the
little other sites. Yes.
Other sites. Yeah, it's the second one in there. And there was a little bit later on about it as well. Yeah.
Carriages. Oh, that's in the Carriages will get around the Method series. Yeah, teleporters.
Yeah.
No.
So I don't know, but like I don't know if they're constantly.
Oh, that's in the Baldur's. I didn't read the Baldur's Gate stories bit. Sorry.
Ah, fair enough.
That's why I didn't read that bit. That's why I was like, I didn't read this bit. That's because I didn't read that bit.
You didn't read that bit, but again, it's just the way that these. I just wondered if it like you just suddenly like, oh, these. It's like these driverless like Ubers, or those cars that go around. You just like plop into one and then you escape the other one, or you just get in and it just takes you.
I think it's literally just a teleporter, isn't it?
Yeah, that's what it feels like as well. But they're just, everywhere.
I bet they just travel around and you just go into one and then you go plop, and then you plop to the nearest to your location, maybe.
Yeah. So I think that's an interesting chase sequence that you get into one and then fiddle with the things and you go somewhere else, or you send the next person somewhere else to escape them. I just thought it was a bit interesting.
You definitely can have horses in Waterdeep. I don't know what I was coming up with there.
Oh, it's all right. Well,
I was thinking about it. I was like, that's not true. I just remember saying when I had that campaign that I made them collect horses on the way out, but I guess it's because they didn't have horses. That was the only reason. I was like, it's not that because obviously there's a whole thing about
not allowed any horses.
No, because there's a whole there's a whole thing in Dragon Heist about like the riding, the like horse. The carriages guild people.
Sure.
So that would be silly. But yeah, no, that is very interesting, and that is a weird like chase sequence to be like, where have they teleported to? Like you can't go follow that cab. It's like someone has to decode and decipher maybe like magically what the teleportation went to, and then like try and follow it that way or something like that.
Yeah, I definitely would love to see those. So they feel like really cool, like to try and like how you get to a place to see if you're followed. You roll like a stealth check or a sleight of hand to make sure you set the coordinates, or whatever. Yeah, I just thought that was really interesting. The other one I found interesting from the other sites in the upper city is one that got mentioned a little. Well, it gets mentioned. They have some examples of the different sort of noble families. Is the Bormul house, and then the Eomen house, main house.
Yeah.
Two sort of like patriarch houses. The first one has this ghost. The first one has this ghost called the Basilisk Prowler, which hunts around, and no one knows it's tied to this home because of it's just something that's in the goods and the crates at the bottom of the in the basement. And then you have what I like to call the Ready or Not film vibe house of like these people are now in with some dark deeds and some demons, and they're gonna and now we sacrifice to what was it? I can't remember which god it is now, but the Baal, I'm sure.
Baal,
yeah. And I'm like, oh, great. I love stuff like that. You're like, oh, everyone's so rich, but also they're debauch, and they're like, oh, come to our house.
The Oamain house.
Oamain, yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Indulgent parties for aspiring socialites from the lower city. So it's like, damn, you're like, oh, you should come. Oh, such good deeds you're doing. Come, we're having supper. It's networking. Yeah,
it's like a darker version of what we do in the shadows, basically.
Pretty much, yeah. Exactly.
No, that's right. They're good, and I think that's the thing. It's that real like it's kind of like Ravenloft in the light. Do you know what I mean? As in like it's just behind the door. It's going to be the dead house. Do you know what I mean? You could even take the murder house from Strahd and just make it one of the houses in the upper city, and that would fit perfectly acceptably. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'd like that. Yeah, I think any of the stuff with the new Ravenloft book out, I'm sure they've got little adventure hooks that you could probably put into like a side street, certainly in Baldur's Gate.
I think you could even do a little bit of like you step through a door and suddenly you're in Ravenloft, and you look out the windows in the house and you're in Ravenloft. Like, so you go into a city in Baldur's Gate, but actually that's just a portal to Ravenloft. And then when you go out through the door, you go back into, maybe you do go back in, or maybe you don't. If you don't, maybe you open the door and you're like, shit, now we're in Ravenloft, and there's like a secret you need to unlock in the building that then teleports the door back to Baldur's Gate or something like that.
I mean, like anything with Sigil, I know your favorite, like the City of Doors, maybe you find a door to go, you suddenly like, I know it's different planes, but I like the idea you go, whoop, and you go, back
Ravenloft is a different plane, isn't it?
It is, yes. I was just thinking, like, for some reason I was like, and now back to Waterdeep is what I was thinking. I was like, no, that's two different things.
Yeah, exactly. But so I think, loads of things that you could do. You could definitely have that very much like, go off your like heretic, that horror that's just come out, that sort of like creepy guy in a big house kind of vibes could just happen here, you know what I mean? And very much
that's a good film. I enjoyed that film a lot.
I thought
there's this sort of theme of like, there's always a worse evil, I think, like the dangers behind it. So you've got like, you've got these cults, like you've got the Dead Free, as you said, mentioned. We've got the crime syndicate. You've got the guild itself, and then you also have devil cults as well. Like people just like trying to, again, it's that aspect of one-upping each other. Like, I will get somewhere, and the only way I can do it is having a deal with one of the devils that I've sort of allowed to have evil worship. Because here, like, there's no restraint on like worshipping. You can worship whatever kind of gods, which is different to some of the other places we've seen.
Yes,
and I thought that was really interesting because here, like it says here in the Devil's Cult section, it says like devils have much to offer desperate and greedy Baldurians, undeserved wealth, status building connections, and more. And that's the thing, is that I was going back to that idea of like, maybe you are trapped here and you're desperate, so that's why you probably would go and worship a devil, because that's the only way you get out of it, or you're being greedy. So I liked how it didn't matter where you are, you're still going to be sort of like impacted by this corruption, because it's like, I see no way out, or like this is the only way I can one up someone. So I just thought that was really interesting, and I definitely would have liked to see maybe some, I don't know, examples of devil cults, or like examples of different, because obviously I know there's different devils from like different kind of tiefling devils, for example, so, or going through the
different layers of hell.
Exactly, maybe you just combine the two books at that point, but it'd be interesting to see what kind of,
I mean, the Castellantas are a good example from Waterdeep, which are all they're integrated with devils, and I think
guys,
so that's one to start with. But there's definitely, I'm sure, the book of, what's the book we haven't talked about in a long time, the Book of Evil, I forget its name.
The
3 one that's like the the bad book that's
the
like
bad book that we
the bad book that's got all the horrible things.
I can just see the cover of it. I don't.
Yeah.
I know exactly what you're talking about though. The horrid book.
The horror book. So if you go in there, you'll find some stuff about devil worship in there.
Howard recommends. Yes.
Don't just go searching devil worship books because you might get yourself in trouble. But no, I think it's I think one thing that we talked about last time and that's come up again in this is Nine Fingers Keen.
Yes.
Which always makes you think of our friends the Bastards. Keen! But,
that makes no sense to anyone
who doesn't watch the Bastards.
But
please go listen to them. And that I was listening recently, and then you know when it plays like an unlistened to track from a while ago on a podcast that you've obviously like got to like you've obviously started again or something like that. It went to that episode, and I was like, and it was just amazing. But I think what was I saying is that like talking about like the evils and the stuff. There was the Ham Hock Slaughterhouse, which is where that's just had like a massive like bust up where they've gone in and found a huge cultist group of the Dead Three. They've been ritually murdering people in the slaughterhouse, which is a good cover for a murder cult, right? But then it's like got this underlayer of the fact that it wasn't really like the what's his name, the Flaming Fist went in, but actually it was on the behest of the guild. And Nine Fingers Keen, who's the leader of the guild. And we were talking about back when we last looked about Nine Fingers Keen being like a very cool name, and actually like you could totally have your raft of Lock, Stock, Two Smoking Barrels naming convention. Do you know what I mean? There's a naming generator, I think, for like Snatch characters or something like that.
Incredible.
You could definitely use to create all the sort of leaders that you want in here, or people that are like Nine Fingers Keen and Three Tongues Harry and Broken Nose Jim and
no ears
short
Brian,
short Bob, who's like 7 foot tall.
Short Bob. Shorter Bob.
Shorter Bob. Yeah, exactly. Couldn't see bigger Bob.
Oh God, yeah. Oh, great. Yeah, you need like criminal names like that, like nicknames. I
Taffy.
like that.
Just Taffy.
Taffy.
It's called Taffy. Why is it called Taffy? Don't know. You don't want to know.
You should see what the other people do. What other people whose faces are. They are now Taffy. You know.
Yeah, Taffy. Yeah, he turns people to Taffy. That's it.
Oh gosh.
So a lot of like. There's definitely a lot of like I'm just scrolling through and remembering things like the Hostel. That's like this really cool little like music hall festival place with artist studios.
The Wit House. Yes.
Wit House Hostel. Wit Keep. Yeah.
Yes.
But then actually,
so good.
But then the secret behind it is that one of the workers there is actually a succubus who's like influencing this group of people in there. And like that's and there's lots of killings going on and stuff like that, and then there's imps that they've got that they're meant to be an animal trainer, that's it, but they're actually disguised imps, which is kind of fun. And I think
this whole space actually I think is great because it's aimed at a commune of mostly gnome artists scaled for small folks. So I think I can just imagine it, everything, you could, again, not to punch down or anything like that, but just that idea of like, how could you? It picks up like a massive stool, but it's actually like half your foot.
It's like going to a school play, and you all have to sit on the silly chairs, the tiny chairs, and you're just like. Exactly.
And they have like a play area where you can see weird, like experimental. It's what I think of fringe shows, right? But then there's this. I thought there's a very fun, silly rule of like the artist must respect only few rules. Residents must respect the art of others and spend one day each turn a day without lifting a tool to create art. This is intended to encourage a day devoted to hostile chores or repairs, but some guests shirk this duty to rest while insisting them following the rules. I was like, that is such a typical artist thing to say. But I like that's a little you go in and there's always one. Now I'm following the rules, like, and the dishes are all piled high and there's like dust bunnies everywhere, and it's like, oh, come on, please, no, I can't. Just my art is so important.
So true. I so vibe that. I get that. Yeah.
So good.
And There's loads of, I'm just going through it and remembering like Dalliance Down, the underground sewer nightclub. That's pretty cool.
So fucking great, yeah.
I'm just imagining like that scene from The Matrix, like dun, 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 like proper thing, like when they're in, what's it called, Zion or whatever.
Zion, yes, absolutely.
That kind of like dance thing, but there's like sewers about, sort of thing.
Yeah.
Ton of like, but there's like elegance, hanging chandeliers and tapestries and stuff like that, but it's kind of like the idea that it would all be this like underground nightclub, which is pretty much like all the nightclubs in Bath, because they're all like
they're all under
they all have to be underground in the because Bath's all like raised up a story, so everything's like there's a whole underground city. The sewer keep being just gross.
The sewer keeps I felt that was really interesting to actually see. I don't know any other places that we've seen that actually does like a sewage system that cleans. It's not like.
That's what I mean. It's like literally teaches you about like recycling water.
And like, we get the druids to go around and purify the water, and there's shambling mounds that go in and eat the things, and maybe the odd one or two like bodies end up in there. And obviously the druids, if the druids know, then that's really bad. But I'm like, this is great.
Really cool, magical way of like they purify water by using druids doing the magic of purify water. Like,
well, I'm sure we've talked about before. Maybe it was in our Ravnica talk through, but like the idea of like having sewage cleaner crews, and you've got oozes and stuff, and you're an ooze tamer or a shambling mound tamer, and you have to go through and manage that. That's fun.
There's a really good there's a really great one of the better Gotrek Theatre, which is a Warhammer novels like set in the fantasy cities, and it's called Skaven Slayer, I believe, that one, and it's about like they go and work as sewer jacks in this sewer of this empire city. And it's a really interesting, just like that idea that there's just this life of just like constantly going down to the sewers, checking for like rat people that are doing up to no good, or whatever like up to no good stuff is going on down in the sewers in these cities. It's just interesting sort of, you're right, it's a great little different place that you could take your players down to, I think.
For me, I've got a couple like that stood out to me, like stuff like, and they're very simple, but I think it was also the names of them as well. I think some good names, like the Hissing Stones, which is like a bathhouse, but because the patrons only wear thin robes, it makes it feel safe because you don't have any weapons on you. So I thought that again, what if there's a murder that happens at the Hissing Stones? It's like, wow, how did this person get killed? We have obviously various other eatery places like Joplin's. With a seedy tavern and now an elegant tea house, but the tea is secretly laced with subtle addictive moonflower that moonflower leaves that drive customers to return. So idea of like a drug in that sort of sense. There was an earlier one which was like the Breeze Bakery, which is a way you could overhear people. And again, I just like that idea of yummy mummies, all gossiping and stuff. Love it. Again, it felt very. Not modern, but I was like, oh, this is more interesting than like, you're in a tavern and you're getting I just thought there was something like the one that really stood out to me, which I know is so silly.
You were going to do that idea we had ages ago, which was the housewives of Baldur's Gate, like that's where they would go, right?
Of course it would be, absolutely. And well, then you'd go to the Smiling Boars, the next one, which is this bawdy breakfast restaurant. Her scandalously named dishes have caused a stir, but business is brisk. But I like the idea that you're like, oh, we always go to this place, because then you've got to come up with punny names, or like and you're like, oh, have you checked out my buns? This all that sort of horrificness. But I think as long as it's like that, for me is like, I will come to the challenge with that, and I will try like, ooh, saucy. I think like I think there's so many little sites in here, and I think you talked about it before, like last time was a little dry and a bit overwhelming. I feel this time there's more, or it's at least feels streamlined to be like, oh, that's interesting, I want to do it. Because way I would compare this one is to like the Icewind Dale one, where we looked at that one. We'd already read it before, the 10 Towns, and we found that again it was streamlined, but also added more, because it's like 10 years since this adventure had happened.
And also every single place seemed to have something horrific happening in it, which was fine, but I think it was a bit overwhelming. And I think what I really like about this is that they've had the strength of mind, which I find difficult to do, to give more to some things and still have things that are just a paragraph long, and just get enough information in what they need to be, like the other sites being a really good way of just being like, just talking about the Baldur and statue. It's just like, this is a weird thing, right? You need to know about it because people will probably talk to you about it. There's not a lot more you can know, but there's a mystery hidden there somewhere. Or just the Church of Last Hope, is as a combination of multi-denominational church and chapel and asylum, and it just has she takes quiet rest and treat for mental health problems. She also occasionally ventures the city to offer sanctuary to those in need of such care. And it's just like, that's an interesting place, something that is particularly modern in sort of conventions. And then it's just like, it's just there as a little bit of tidbit, which and that's all it needs to tell you, because you can add to it yourself. Whilst when we talked about all these other places, the hostel, for example, is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 paragraphs with a little mystery and a little group and everything like that. And it kind of works well, this sort of balancing act of just being confident enough to write a paragraph on something and accept that to be good.
I agree. I agree as well. I feel like maybe the only thing I would have liked more of, perhaps, is to tie it in with the other places we've seen. Because obviously, like we mentioned it earlier, the Oasis Theatre in the little Kalamshan neighborhood. Again, it's like, people from Kalamshan. So no doubt there'll be people from Moonshine Isles at least visiting, or like some sort of consulate, that sort of thing. And I'd be like, cool. It'd be nice to. You're here. Thank God you've come from the Moonshade Isles, or you've just been to the Dale Lands. You can always spot who's from the Dale Lands because they're like, gosh, we've got so much political intrigue, and then you come here and it's like brr, and murder left, right, and centre.
I think that's true. I think the cosmopolitanness of it is there, but it's not. It doesn't feel like when they talk about Waterdeep, it is like everyone is from everywhere. It's the center of the universe. It's New York sort of vibe. And I think they don't. Yeah, I think you're right. There could be more on the sort of like communities of different.
I think. But again, I seem to recall in the event in the Avernus one that you could have backgrounds which were related to Baldur's Gate in some way. So that's why I wondered. Then you would combine the two. The final little site I want to mention, just because I think it's awful, and it's on the map as well. It's called Unruly Flesh. Which is a massage parlor.
Yes.
Where basically the proprietor is a silent, lanky human massage therapist known as Bone Pincher. Bone Pincher keeps a small staff of I can't even say that. It's some of attendants, and although the attendants insist that their master is non-religious, that is a lie. They venerate Merkel. Bone Pincher marks patrons for having the right kind of bones, and then he puts like a sort of symbol on them that inflicts debilitating pain, and they're like, you must come back to the back room so as to really sort out this pain, and remove the treasure bones to add to his gory shrine. In my head, the only twist I would do on this is like make it about a dentist instead.
Don't.
Yeah, but you know what I mean. I feel like, because I've never had like a chiropractor or anything like that, but I imagine this is the sort of fear I would have of like, when they have your head and then you do this business, and I'm just like, no. So I like anything like that when I'm like, that's awful. Let's make it worse, and let's do this. So,
let's make it worse. That face you made there was just like classic. I think there's a thing that I feel that this is missing comparative to the other areas that I still think need it, if you know what I mean. But I think is they've got the lack of real, like they've got the encounters table on the end here, right?
Yes.
So they've got Baldur's Gate encounters, but a sewers specific encounters table. Because the only thing I thought was like slightly missing, because I felt like it's a really interesting place, particular to what they're talking about. I think all the Baldur's Gate encounters in that section are fine. I think they're okay. I think they could add. I felt like a lot of them. I feel like something that encounter tables probably need more of is not. It has to be a monster stat. Do you know what I mean? Sometimes it can just
have a social encounter.
Just have a social encounter. Just tell me something about the city. I know they're trying to do that in some of their tough boss, shake down a shopkeeper, Flaming Fist berates citizens about a recent robbery. It does do that, but I would rather have a couple more of these that were more like a paragraph long, that incite an encounter that is more wider scale potentially. And then the same with like, and then I felt like it could do with even at least a D10, but let alone a D20 of like particularly what you'd find in the sewer, because they've given you loads of different locations in the sewer.
So agreed.
there's like quite a fair few. I can't count them all, but there's a lot of them, and I think that it would just be nice to maybe feel like it's inviting you down there into it. I think like there's some really crazy like about Bar's Abattoir, and they've like teleported a tower upside down. I think that's fucking cool.
That's so cool.
I so want that. It's like such a thing. Heat Passage is just horrible. Like Offalscape, or great names, and Underjunction is like such an awesome.
Underjunction sounds great. Yeah, all the sewer stuff. I thought, I think it was because there was so few of them. But again, it's like you could make your own things on there. But I also wondered if there should be more stuff with the Dusk Hill as well, because it talks about like these river veins as in the passageways, which I thought was a great term for that. But like, is it a tomb? It's next to the cemetery, right? So maybe there's something in there. And I would have been like, I feel like maybe encounters isn't the right word. Maybe it's with I don't know. It's
engage. Like I call it. I use encounters in mine, but I do a lot of them which are just like actually like you're witnessing something, or someone comes up to you and offers you, like I do ones that are like you get tapped on the shoulder, pulled into an alleyway, and someone asks you the eagle, and it's an Eagle's Landing, but something along like the moon catches the wind on the night, and then you have to, and that's the encounter,
and then you improvise around it,
and then it's that's it. And I think those are fun ones to do. Or one I had was like one of your party roll a d3 or roll a number randomly. They are grabbed from behind and stabbed with something. Make them roll a dr12 constitution check. Right, they roll the constitution check, and then make everyone else roll the presence check, and then if they don't fail, they've just been taken away, and that's it. They've gone, and that's it. And you just take the part, and then they wake up in another place. And I've done that in a couple of encounters, and it's just like that is just enough, right? And one I made it was they're just doing alchemical experiments on people, and they just need people to test medicines on in this thing, and that's what they've done. But like your GM could be like, that's fun, something to do that's just like that would feel very vibes-wise to Baldur's Gate as well, where it's just like. But
then could lead to some other things, like you said, like so you do the like someone comes up and goes, would you like to taste? We've got taste testing or something like that. And you go, yeah, sure, and you taste it, and it's like, and you have that interaction with the funny shopkeeper. But then the next time you're through, the shopkeeper goes, there you are, and I have a job for you. You like that thing so much, the hot sauce? Well, I need to go get these. So again,
it's just something for your DM's like, I've not prepped this session, and then they go, well, you've just been kidnapped, and that's the session sorted, isn't it?
But also it's like, how your players, because they might be like, I don't care about this. You're like, cool, so we're not going to follow that line of inquiry. But if they're like, if they get really engaged, or there's like a fun thing that happens, you're like, okay, I'll file that for later, and I will expand on. It gives just like because ultimately you want your players to be engaged and proactive. So what do they step in when someone from a crew gets like accosted by the watch? And if they do, great, you're now +1 with that faction. And so true. I agree. It's nice to just have seeds that aren't necessarily it must be a combat.
Well, even just like I did another one that was like I had it was a vampire, but they come out of a black coach and they drop something on the floor as they walk away. You notice, no one else notices, and the carriage pulls away. And that's just a thing. And isn't it's like good. Again, it's like, I'm not telling you what it is, GM, but it's like, there's an inciting incident for you to take away, which could be something. You know
like maybe even like something like
Trophy, a black book or something like that. Like
but like something like Trophy Dark does is like you it says at the top there's like 3 moments that you can share. It's like the crow as a crow that comes down and like pecks the head of a skull that's on a pike or something like that. Maybe that's the same sort of thing that you could just do like a D12 worth of like flavorsome moments that you would see. And that could, again, so it's not like you interact with someone, but you see this thing, you see a book that's lying on the ground, you see it say it's sorted, that sort of
exactly.
Like, what do you do? So I like that a lot.
I just think it's a fun way of just adding things that, because I think personally as a GM, I think sometimes what I want is just like all I need is that little bit of inspiration like that to then start the ball rolling, and that's it. And it's as you said, from an inspiration. What am I looking for? What do you do? What do you do?
Prompt. I said
impromptu. Yeah, impromptu. As an improviser, as an improvisation.
Sounding it. Yes.
As in, like that is sometimes all you need is the prompt for improvisation, and that's it, isn't it? So like fundamentally.
Absolutely.
I also and someone who's the adventure I'm trying to write at the moment is set in a catacombs, like an undercity that's under a city. That it's trying to figure out, like I've been trying to figure out, like what do people, I've got people living down there, and I've got people who are existing in that world, and I've got cartels in the world generally, so like that are going to be down there anyway, but just like people that exist, and I just think, oh, I'm just trying to think of like creepy, cool, crazy people that you would just have that are just like down there that could do with like just doing their own thing. Do you know what I mean? And it's fine, like that they're doing their own thing. And why are they down there? Because like it's just because they want to do their own thing down there, and it maybe isn't bad. It's just like they just want to collect skulls, and that's just what they want to do. You know, like maybe that's it. You know, or like they just fish in the sewer to see what they can find because they might find something like gold. Do you know what I mean?
They might find gold or a cursed artifact that's been thrown away by one of the. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and that's it. So like, those sorts of characters can just be things to pepper around in that place as well. Like Awfulscape, right? Such a
horrible name. Yeah.
Yeah, and they've got the Otiogs that find the atmosphere appealing. I set up a few scavenged tables and chairs to draw people to enjoy the view. And haven't had much luck apart from the kids considering kidnapping guests. It's those kind of characters that are just kooky guys. Do you know?
Oh, you silly
Fiona
guys.
characters. That's what I'm in my head. I'm just like, that's what I go to when I'm thinking about like, what would Fiona have as a character down there?
WWFD, yes, absolutely. That's so funny. I think the one thing I'd say is that a book I've read recently, Teeth, which is which again is that sort of thing of like a horrible place in the middle of the 18th century England, all bad things, and what they do. Same sort of thing. They'll describe like places of interest, and then they'll have like bits of lore and stuff like that. And I just remembered one of the plot hooks from it that made me laugh was like, there's like, someone that's from this church comes to you and goes, there's some horrible wailing that's happening out over on the marsh, and it's horrible cries. It's been happening for days, and there's some weird beat that goes with it. We don't know, something demonic. Turns out it is some sort of time traveling thing from the mid 90s, like UK time, has gone back in time, and they're just having a big old drug fueled rave. So having to deal with that. So I like the idea that you could do something similar. It's like there's from a different plane. It's like something happening on. God, I don't know what we'll do with play. What's the Ysgard is what I'm thinking. Maybe there's like battle, yes, and we die and we do it again on the Dust Hill Mound. You can't. It's the curfew. What?
To Nirvana. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. There you go. Is there any final things you want to say about Baldur's Gate? I think I've got a lot, but is there anything?
There's a lot there. I think it's pretty good. I think of all the ones, I think it's the ones I've been to. I can't, because it's been a while. I think it was the most coherent, the most tallied to a concept without that being diabolically boring. And you know what I mean? Like,
sure.
I felt like the Dalelands just got too much and was too similar and was a little bit, oh my gosh, and was tiring. I felt like the Icewind Dale was great, but my gosh, I think I think if you're reading this GM, you get overwhelmed. But if you chose one or two, you'd be fine, because you find that each one is just like is giving you a thing, and you just need to accept that and don't try and deal with all the 10 different issues that are happening.
Absolutely.
And I think Calamshan was good. I felt we really enjoyed that personally. Yes. I did. And then Moonshine Isles I thought was okay. I felt like it was maybe outstayed its welcome is the right word for it.
I feel there wasn't much to it. It's like again we had
trying to push things on us, but I was
and they were like, "Man, I'm good, fine." The rusting. Ooh.
Oh, and then whilst this feels like every single thing has been very well considered, I feel like it's really clearly well rounded. It's been around for a long time. I know they all have been, but I feel like it definitely feels like a city that's well lived in, because it has been well lived in, as in written, and I think that it stuck with the narrative all the way through without being like every single thing is the end of the world, like the Icewind Dale was, without that every single thing has something interesting for you to interact with and engage with.
I think so too. I feel like the most Baldur's Gate and Icewind Dale obviously had the most sort of like and because also we have that familiarity with them from reading them previously. I think the Dale ones was such a hard one. I know we went on about it. It was just very hard to get through, and maybe we just thought it was just maybe we're too experienced, maybe we're too expert now. We're like so mysterious elven city in big forest. Boo. I really like Calamshan. I'm hoping. Moonshine Isles was fine. I think I would have liked to have more interesting islands and how different they were, because it was compared to Baldur's Gate, which had all these different noteworthy sites. It didn't feel like it was like, here is a city, here is another city,
Yeah.
and it's like the interesting thing is being able to sail to each one, but it didn't feel like there wasn't much in terms of encounters.
No.
Like,
And
yeah.
Yeah,
So,
and it was also like there was a little bit about the different like relationships between the different peoples, but it didn't like, but that's already been resolved because to a certain extent. Do you know what I mean? So you kind of felt like, oh well, that's sorted. And the fairy tale thing wasn't. They didn't put enough on it. I didn't feel like.
I mean, like you'd want to be like, because the whole point of fairy tales is to warn people from don't go off the path, and you could just do like Little Red Riding Hood, or like you can do those things like you see three pigs that are like are arguing over building plans, and you're like, oh, why are they doing that? So yeah, exactly. I think what I'd like to see in future, and I know it's a bit tricky because what they've done now with this particular adventure, the both books, The Heroes and Forgotten Realms and Adventures, is that they have loads of like, there's a chapter somewhere that has like, I want to say 30 different seeds, but you can, which is titled, which is great. But I would like to see like a Kalamshan only adventure or a Moonshade Isle only adventure, because I think again, Icewind Dale, Baldur's Gate, they already had adventures. We didn't read all of Icewind Dale, to be fair, and I certainly didn't read through Baldur's Gate. And I know there's various opinions about them, but at least they had something. You know what I mean? I just feel like, you could do little. I guess people nowadays, they're like, oh, we want our attention spans or our time is a lot shorter, so we can't do a full-on campaign. But I don't know. I feel like I like what they're doing, like in terms of like, here's an idea and adventure stuff. But I feel like it'd be nice to see what a long-term adventure in Kalamshan could be like. And the same with Moonshade Isles. I think that's the thing. Dale Lines I'm fine with.
I agree with you. I feel like that's the thing. And it was a question that came up to me a lot when I was at UK Games Expo about my game. It's just like, so what is a game in your world about? Do you know what I mean? And it's a really good question. And it does. I'm not gonna lie. I was like, well, it's a lot of things. And I had to like set myself, because I was like, it depends on what you want, right? And I was like, if you take this island, it's about this. This one's about, it's about oppression, and it's about you trying to fight against that and a potential war that's oncoming. If you're here, it's potentially about old wounds that haven't really been healed. If you're here, it's literally like, it's about the fact that, it's basically just corruption and you're just going out to find and search for something. And then this one is really just like city intrigue. Like it's like things are going wrong. It's about being a detective. It's very much that kind of vibe, if you want that kind of vibe. So it really depends on what you want. And I think that sometimes, like when we're in the Daylands, I felt like it was trying to do a lot of those different things in a way.
I think
but
so.
political intrigue being at the heart of it. And I think again with Icewind Dale, it was like, here's a lot of the same thing, which is like, you want sort of like creepy, otherworldly horror, alien in the sense of like otherworldly, or like as in outside of yourself, or could be devilish or whatever, horror, and like natural, like the environment is always which is there, as well as a background horror that just could creep up on you without it being alien. And I think like, and then but I think when we were at like Moonshade Isles, I was kind of felt maybe what you were saying is like, so what am I doing here? Like what am I doing here? I guess I'm interacting with the Fae, I think. I'm dealing with
rusting,
the rusting maybe, which is fine, but it's like, that's just that feels like I could chuck the rusting anywhere, maybe. Do you know what I mean? Like,
I think because I think like the rusting, like if it gets to the mainland, it can't be stopped. It feels like 28 days later and stuff. But I just felt like it wasn't. I don't know. I wasn't. It didn't feel like, you must go to this place and do it. Like we said, the most interesting NPC in that is that captain who was part rusting herself, but can still control things.
I guess that's the thing. I think maybe it's like, you should. I think if it lent more on like one or the other, like it's a pirate adventure with this rusting, and it made it a thing, then maybe it just requires a bit more. Also, I think Baldur's Gate definitely feels like, I get what I'm doing here. It's darker than fantasy. I'm like here to just like exist, and it's all gonna be crap, and there's crime, and there's gangs, and it's like there's inequality, and I'm dealing, and it's like people are gonna talk like this. It's gonna
corruption
rain.
And crews. Yes, absolutely.
It's like,
I guess. I feel like. I think again it's very easy for us to be like, well, Baldur's Gate is better, and Icewind Dale, like it has stuff. But I feel like, why would I choose Moonshade Isles over like Baldur's Gate? Like what is it to, like you said, what's it to give to the players? But like, I need you to go here because there's some really, the Moonwells, that's a cool thing. But like, and I feel like maybe what would have helped throughout all of these is more mention of why the factions, and like having a faction adventure in each one, because it does talk about like, here's a typical arc of, in Baldur's Gate, with the corruption with the Patriots or with the crews or something like that. Cool. But what if, the Zentarum gets mentioned here, there, and everywhere? I was like, okay, what if it's a Zentarum adventure? What if we're doing like a Ravnica kind of like, here's a guild that you're a part of, and you've been sent out as an agent of the Zentarum to go to these places. What does that mean for you? If you're a part of the Emerald Enclave in the Moonshade Isles, you're going to be fighting for those moon wells compared to I know I said Zentarum, but any of the others. So I feel like that would have been cool to have them in, because there was only little like sprinklings of like, factions in it. And to be fair to them, I can understand why you don't want to be like, and all these factions have something to say, because I would find that overwhelming. But yeah, I guess that's the thing, is like, if I wanted to, I'm someone who likes factions, and be like, here's a purpose that's not like, you're 4 murder hobos in a tavern and you have a quest, whereas like your patron, it says like, you better do this, otherwise you're getting kicked out of the guild, and that looks bad for you guys, So I don't know, but I've enjoyed our little whistle stop tour. I've enjoyed it a lot. Like I said, I'm interested to find out more about the factions and the religions as well, because I wonder if that will help shape a few more things about it. But I think they've been good primers, and if we ever went back to the actual campaign setting, the Forgotten Realms campaign setting, maybe I would hold my breath and go in a bit deeper, because there was some of that bits when I looked through it, I was like, that seems too detailed. The 3.5, but it was a nice primer, this, and I'm glad we got to do it. I'm glad we got to travel again. It's nice to travel.
Yeah, it was. It was actually. It was nice to do the travel book club. I think comparatively, I feel like, compared to, because we've obviously done like Planescape being our main traveling book club show, I think that exactly.
It's hard to go. We've gone to outer space, and now we're back.
Exactly.
It's not as nice here, is it?
Let's go back out. Exactly. Yeah, but I feel like it'd be nice to go and find some more things along the Sword Coast, potentially in around.
Well, we spoke about the I know there's a Sword Coast Adventurers Guide, but there's like Volo's Guide
to the north
and Sword Coast and stuff like that. I know at some point we should go back to the astral and ethereal planes. We've not done that. Those books are chunky though, so we need to look at those. And hey, there's some Domains of Dread that has popped up as well. So lots of us to go back when we come back to a travel book. But a nice little jaunt throughout our time. So thank you so much, Hamilton. So if you've enjoyed this, go check out our other travel book clubs. There'll be links to them in the show notes and whatnot. There'll be links to obviously my stuff and Hamilton's stuff as well. And go check out our sibling podcast as well, the DM's book club, where we mostly talk about other games now, like other RPGs. But we've also got a little GM's book club, where it's me and Hamilton talking about some RPGs that we both love, and going through those as well. Any final thoughts before we go back home? I've packed our bags. You got your passport.
I think if you're looking to find out more about the Forgotten Realms, it's all right.
I think like 5 out of 10, maybe.
I think it's solid. I'd give it a solid 6 out of 10.
Yeah, I think it's 6 as well. Like again, the stuff I've really enjoyed, but then I think you and me talking about it, I've gone excellent. Let's do this, rather than like, what else? But again, that's the whole point of this, is to discover.
No,
more
I think so, and I think that to clarify, there's some really great bits in there. I think if you are, I think the book itself, if you're interested in traveling around there, I think it's a good book to get. I think, but then again, I think what we've mentioned is, there are possibly other books out there that might have more to it that would also come from an adventure, like Descent into Avernus, or Waterdeep Dragon Heist, or getting the Sword Coast Adventurers Guide. Maybe might be a better solution for you. Maybe. Some sources may vary. Exactly.
All right. With all that, thank you so much for joining us for this travel book club, A Guide to Faerun, and I'm just going to make us wave awkwardly as we say goodbye, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.